Welcome to Drawing with Vince Mancuso.
Hello, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about aging the human head. One of the things that happens as the human head starts getting older, or just the body in general, right? The skin starts becoming brittle, muscle tissue starts to weaken and starts to disappear, and the natural gravity or the natural pull of gravity will start to drag things down. Okay, this is just an inevitability. All right, so everything starts to pull down, right, and everything starts to slowly wither away, right, and in terms of the male head, it immediately begins with the hairline. One of the first things that as you can see when I start drawing is, hair starts to become thinner and it starts to recede. Okay, so it's gappy, it recedes, and start to gradually disappear, becomes soft. Right, so when you're drawing that male head, right, what we're looking at doing here now is just kind of gapping the hair follicles, right, and push the line of the hair back. Okay. Another thing that starts occurring is the elasticity of the hair. The elasticity of the skin starts to become more brittle, and it starts to lose its kind of bounce back effect, so that now in the forehead, permanent lines will remain. By the side of the eye canopy and the eyes, we start getting sort of crow's feet occurring. By the mouth, we start getting, again, just a crackling of the skin and a losing of its elasticity. So there's permanent wrinkles. Okay. The eyebrows start to grow very aggressively, and in an elderly person, sort of become almost wiry, especially men. Okay, you see this with grandfathers. That they have very scraggly, wiry eyebrows. The nose. Along the nasal bridge, the skin starts to sink and the muscle tissue starts to disappear. So you start to see the edge of the bone. And then as we get to the bald tip, because the nose is made up of cartilage, it starts to swell. This is what happens in an elderly person. We get a swelling of the tip of the nose. We also get a swelling of the ears, and they start to droop below their normal position. So they get larger and they start to drop below the nose line, like this. Okay, because normally in a sort of adult in their prime, the bottom of their earlobe would line up with the base of their nose, but in an elderly person, it actually droops beyond that. Okay, so we get that kind of effect happening. The eyelids start to droop, so we start getting this kind of sleepy look, and the eye gets somewhat partially covered. The eyeball and the iris starts to get sort of covered over by the droopy lid. The bottom lid, the skin now starts to lose its strength and its elasticity, so we start developing some folds there, right? And as you can see, I mean, I'm going to throw all of these, all of the characteristics, at the head. So, I'm going to age this person considerably. He's going to look like a 90-year-old person, 100-year-old person type of thing, right? And aging really is a question of degrees in the end, like if you want that person, to look a certain age, then you do more or less of some of these elements, right? Not all of them, okay? So now I'm putting permanent lines here by the nose, right? Which would be characteristic, right? The bottom lip just is thinner and losing some of its mass, okay? Some permanent lines underneath. The chin is still a kind of bone structure, so it's there. But one of the key things that happen down along the jawline is that the skin starts to droop and hang under. This is where you get that turkey neck, right? Or that extra skin, that occurs in an elderly person that just kind of, hangs below the jawline, right? Again, elasticity is going. Sort of the cheekbones sink, right? Because the muscle tissue is disappearing. So it's almost like they're sinking into the skull kind of scenario. We've got heavy shadows because the eyeballs are also sinking and the muscle tissue is getting weaker, right, in the eye sockets. So the eyes start to look more sunken. Also, too, the same effect happens in the temples, right? There's a bit of a swell or a valley, and that starts to sink away as a person ages. Okay. A little extra bit of size there was going to give me some cast shadows. Let's see here. And there you have it, right? It's a elderly male, right? Now sort of aged accordingly, right? And he could be 80, 90 years old. So I'm going to take him now, and I'm just going to move him over so we can look at him over here. And I'm going to take the same mannequin head, move it over here, and I'm going to do a female. Okay. Now the trick with the female is not to overdo some of the qualities. Okay. So for example, like with the eyebrows and the sparse, right? I'm going to maintain them a little bit more open and not as wiry in the female, right? To sort of kind of just preserve a bit of that femininity, right, in the eyes, okay? And often, elderly women, they'll do things like they'll pluck their eyebrows and so on and so forth. So, these kinds of things will sort of remain manicured and dealt with. We're going to do the same effect with the eyes. We're going to create a bit of a droopy lid, right? A little bit more open, okay? Sunken, shadowy eyelids, right? Give her some eyelashes. Some crow's feet by the eyes, okay? Just a little touch. And droopy eye. Get that shadowy quality. The nose, I'm not going to over-exaggerate the nose on the female because it would just look horrific, right? So I'm going to keep it smaller and turned up, okay? A little bit more pristine so that we get that sort of the female sort of underlook, right, that we need. There's a septum. Okay, Let's get that a little smaller. I'm going to maintain the fullness in the lips as per the female. But I'm just going to add a few little wrinkles, you know, some crow's feet, you know, in around there kind of thing. A little bit of some line work right around there. The chin, I'm going to soften it, right? And the cheekbone, I'm going to sort of, you know, bring it in, right? But a little less severe, right? But still we're going to get some sinking, right? Some sinking in the mouth, right? The hair with the female, you know, women in their prime, they grow their hair long, you know, and they do a lot of things. As they get older, they tend to keep it short. They go to the hairdresser because the pliability and the response is not as much, but, you know, they have hair, right? So, you know, here I'm going to give this woman a kind of, you know, elderly sort of discreet bob, you know, so it's not very long, right? But at the same time, it's feminine. Okay, this is important because we got to maintain that characteristic and that quality in the female. Same thing with the ears, you know, like with the male, the cartilage and everything gets a little larger. This is true also with the female, but you do that with discretion, okay? Because you want to maintain the integrity of the femininity, right? With the aging of the female head. So it's all the same ideas, okay? Sinking temple, sinking eye sockets. The jaw line of the skin does droop below, okay? But we want to do it carefully and not overly aggressive because we don't want to lose her. She's still got to look like a female. Yes, some effects there. Let's take a look at how that plays out. Get that. Well, actually, I'll turn off that there. There you go. There's the sort of female. I'll give her a few little eyelid droop, but a little less than the male. And the rule is always less is more with the female, because every little thing, just because women are sort of prettier and more delicate and more, you know, the scale is a little softer and a little smaller, every little mark that you make actually exaggerates more or twice as much than the male. And there you have it. There's your basic technique to aging the heads. There's the female, and there is the male. Okay? Give that a go, see how it plays out, and remember, more is best. Ciao for now.